Welcome back, Gemini. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast. This forecast is for the week of April the 4th through April the 10th. We are going to pull one card for each day to get the highlights or the themes of each day as they go through the week. We will be starting with Saturday, working our way through until Friday. Friday. Let's get some cards down. While I'm doing that, let me remind you guys that this is a collective reading, meaning that most of it will apply to most of you, but not all of it will apply to all of you. So if you would like to have a private reading scheduled where I look at solely your energy, not commingled with everybody else's, you can find all my contact information at the website at the top of my head there, and just reach out to me and we will get something scheduled. Let's start. So for the weekend, your cards are coming up as the Hanged Man. And then Sunday, you have the King of Cups in reverse. Very interesting. So we're going to talk about the weekend and then we'll look at the week's cards and talk about the week. So first of all, for Saturday with this Hanged Man, this just tells me that on Saturday you are still trying to make up your mind about which way you want to go with some kind of situation in your life. All right. So you're not moving forward with it because you're still kind of chewing it around in your brain like, what am I going to do with this? You know, you may have your subconscious working on it, you may be meditating on it. You may be actively thinking about it, coaching or mentoring on it, anything like that, but you're not moving forward yet until you feel comfortable with the way forward with whatever this situation is. And with one card, I can't tell you what situation that is. You will recognize it if it applies to you, which means most of you will recognize it. Let's look at Sunday. King of Cups coming up in reverse. King of Cups in reverse just means that Sunday you're interacting with somebody who is not very happy at all. And they are expressing that, but they're expressing it kind of on the down low. This is somebody who, like, when this person is so angry, they're quieter instead of louder. Not my favorite. That actually scares me more than somebody who's shouting when somebody's really quietly expressing their displeasure. So, yeah, I think you have an interaction coming up with somebody like that. Do, 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 do. Not too worried about it actually for you guys, Gemini, because I think there was some kind of misunderstanding, and I think once you actually can tell this person um, what the real deal is, once you can tell this person the truth, so that he or she understands things not in the way that they originally did, but in the way that is more factual, then I think things are much more harmonious. Hmm. You're going to have to be respectful no matter what, though. Even if this person is not right about what they're thinking, you still want to be respectful. Otherwise, they won't pay attention to you. And you're going to want them to pay attention to you. So let's move into the week. Monday, Geminis, Seven of Swords. Tuesday, Four of Wands in reverse. Can you tell this text on here is so small? I'm getting these cards right up to my eyes almost. Wednesday, the universe. A lot of decks would call this the world. Thursday, the horned one. A lot of decks would call that the devil. There's a little different of a meaning here. There's a little bit more nuance of a meaning in this deck than what we normally think of as the devil, and we'll talk about that when we get to Thursday. Friday, Four of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Okay, it's kind of the perfect day for a Four of Pentacles to show up in reverse since most people have payday Friday. As in, it would be kind of expected. So let's take a peek at your days. So Monday, remember we started off with the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, I feel like there's something that you are getting away from on Monday. It's interesting. It doesn't feel like you're getting out of some kind of contract or agreement. It just feels to me like you are geographically getting away from a place or a situation. It's interesting. You could be taking a walk even under the kind of sense that I get for this because, like I said, I don't feel like you're coming out of a contract or an agreement. You're definitely getting away from something, and I do feel like you're getting away from it like in a very non-dramatic way. This is not like we're burning some bridges as we go. This is not a take this job and shove it kind of moment. This is just leaving a situation or leaving a place quietly, non-dramatically. That's interesting because that could be a really trivial part of the day from the sounds of it. This could be just deciding I'm going to get out of the house and go for a walk or go for a drive. Anyway, let's move forward, shall we? Tuesday, Four of Wands coming up in reverse. This talks about being away from home. So you're going to be doing something away from home. You may be taking some kind of trip on Tuesday. But this is somebody leaving the nest. So you could be taking a trip. But the other thing is somebody else actually in the home. I feel like for some of you, it's somebody else in the home that's leaving. This is the kind of card you get when somebody leaves on a military temporary duty or when they leave to go off to college. It's something where when this card comes up like this, they will be coming back. They're just leaving temporarily. Sometimes this can even be, I don't know what your context is or what your situation is, but sometimes this is people separating and somebody leaves the home. If somebody is separating and leaving the home under these circumstances with this card coming up, they may or may not know it, but that separation is only temporary. They will be back, whether that's you or some other person leaving the home. You'll be back or they'll be back. It's only temporary. And we've got a couple of interesting things here, don't we? First, leaving a situation or a place, and then getting some time away from home, or somebody else getting some time away from home. Let's look at Wednesday. The universe. Hang on. I'm just really not done with these other cards. I think that's you actually leaving home. I just wanted to go into that and see. For most of you, that's you actually leaving home. Like I said, just temporarily. Wednesday, we have the universe. This could be just a day trip or a couple hours trip. I don't know why I'm just like anchored to this card and I keep coming back to Tuesday's card. This doesn't have to be a long trip away from home. It can even be just as short as like a couple of hours. But you are spending some time away from home. Okay, are we done there yet? All right, moving on. Wednesday, the universe. I like it. The universe is a card that talks about the idea of wrapping something up, completing something that we've been heading towards completion with for a while, and just getting it totally taken care of and wrapped up and knocked out so that now we can move on to the next phase of our lives. All right. Sometimes that's phases in a relationship, moving from one phase into the next one. Sometimes that is school or other education. There's a lot of different ways that this can play out, but ready to move on to the next phase because you're wrapping up the one you were on up until Wednesday when you wrapped it up. Let's look at Thursday. Okay, so here we have the Horned One coming up in reverse. I was telling y'all this is sort of like the Devil card in another deck, although not exactly the same. The Horned One really calls us to be more responsible. If you want to think of the Horned One as being maybe like a guardian of the forest or somebody who, this would be a spirit that is protective of nature and maybe not so protective of people who do things that hurt nature type of thing. So, people who manufacture weed killers, probably not the guardian's favorite friend. Just say it. And it doesn't have to be about nature, although I get a lot of nature on this deck, but it does call us to be responsible. And so when we have the Horned One showing up upside down, which we have, I think you are finding some area in your life where you're being more responsible than you used to. You're taking on accountability. And you're not just doing things on autopilot just because that's the way everybody else has done it so far. All right. Now, looking at Friday. Okay, so Friday, you guys have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. I talked about this just a tiny little bit. Four of Pentacles in reverse talks about taking money or something else that we have stashed away for the future, taking it out of that little stashy place and using it now. So it could be that, maybe you were stashing away money for a down payment on a home. Now you're buying a home. taking that money out of wherever you had it stashed and going and buying your home. It could also be, though, that you had money stashed away because you were planning on buying a home and a tree fell on the car. And so now you have to pay your insurance deductible to get your car fixed. And you probably have to buy a rental car, pay for a rental car till your car is fixed. So in that case, we're taking whatever was stashed away out to be used. And, like, thank goodness that it was stashed away, even if we're not using it for exactly what we wanted it for. That type of thing. And those are just examples. It doesn't have to be anything near that big. I just got tired of saying maybe our water heater went out. That's just so tired of that example. So, came up with a new one. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you have a fantastic week. If I don't see you here for a Reiki session, a reading, a mentoring session, so you can tap into your own abilities, anything like that, between now and then I will see you back on the next video. Peace out.